Hi, my name is Natalie. This presentation is a guide to help clubs grade their riding members. I will give a general overview of the grading guidelines created by the Pony Club Association Victoria, which help when grading combinations for dressage, combined training, show jumping and horse trials. Prior to grading, you will generally sit down as a committee and decide how and when riding members are graded. Firstly, it is a good idea to read through the grading requirements that are outlined in the PCAV bylaws. You can download the bylaws from the PCAV website at www.ponyclubvic.org.au. It is possible that your club has purchased a set of rules, and if so, the 2014 bylaws should have a red cover. I will quickly show you how you can access the bylaws from the PCAV website. On the home page, you will see the link Publications and Rules. Click on that link. On the page that opens, there will be a link Rules and Regulations and Guides. Click on that link. On the page that opens, there will be a link Handbook of Bylaws. Click on that link. This page will now allow you to download the 2014 Handbook of Bylaws. Once you have downloaded the bylaws, find the section related to grading. This is section 32 in the 2014 Handbook. Have a read over the basic requirements for grading. Now you might need to refer to other rules in the handbook. For example, if you look at 32.1f, it reads, grading must not occur or be altered at a competition in accordance to Rule 15.7a.2. Also, if you have a quick look at Rule 32.1c, these grading rules must be read in conjunction with PCAV guidelines. It makes specific reference to guidelines, and I'll discuss these in a little moment. The bylaws also provide information about what needs to happen before grading. So for example, Rule 32.2a reads, the combination, and that means the horse and rider, must have attended 2 or more rallies at the members' club. After you have had a thorough look at the grading requirements in the bylaws, there are a few questions that you may need to answer. Is this the combination's first grading? So this means, has this rider on this horse ever been graded? If it is the first grading for this new combination, then the combination needs to have attended 2 pony club rallies before they can be graded for any discipline. Does the combination want to be graded only in one discipline or all disciplines? So this means, do they just want to be graded in, say, dressage only? Or do they want to be graded in dressage, jumping and horse trials? Now just remember that a combination could be assessed to be grade 3 in dressage, but only grade 4 in horse trials. So combinations are graded according to their skill level in each discipline. Lastly, who is going to grade the combination? Do you have senior instructors experienced enough to undertake the grading? Do you, yourself as DC, have the experience and confidence to be able to grade a combination? You may feel that it is necessary to ask someone from outside the club to come in and assist with the grading of riding members. I'll quickly guide you through some steps if you need to ask someone from outside the club to assist with grading. So your first point of call, discuss the option to have an outsider come into the club to grade with a club committee so that any matters can be discussed before proceeding with that option. Definitely have a look at the zone personnel, such as your zone chief instructor or zone counsellor. They will be helpful in this situation. And if for whatever reason you need further assistance, then contact the PCAV. They'll be able to put you in contact with someone that should be able to assist. So I'll quickly show you how to contact your zone personnel. From the home page on the PCAV website, click on Zones and Clubs. Then click on All Clubs. You'll need to locate your zone, so for this example I will use the Southern Metropolitan Zone. So I click on that link and it takes me to a page that shows the contact details for all the zone officials. So if I look down the list, I note that Sally Francis is the Zone Chief Instructor for SMZ. So if I have any queries, I could contact Sally for grading advice, and she may even suggest someone that could come and assist us with our grading. As you can see, there are a few rules related to grading. However, I'm going to discuss the benefits of using the grading guidelines to grade your riding members. These guidelines can be found on the PCAV website, and I've created a link here for you to access them. I highly recommend that you follow a guideline like this, really to reduce club conflict. If you don't have a set of guidelines, then can you confidently say that the grading procedure that you use is fair, valid? Is it safe? Even the most experienced rider will benefit from completing the grading requirements as suggested by PCAV. So following a set of guidelines will ensure you have a valid reason to initially grade and upgrade a rider. You'll also have a valid reason to advise a rider to keep working harder with their training if they don't achieve the requirements as suggested in the guidelines. Try not to grade a beginner rider at grade 5 simply because they have to start somewhere. The rider should have enough skill to navigate a dressage arena and to perform safely over show jumping course. The competition really is to show off their training skills rather than a place to train. It is beneficial if your club has some sort of system whereby members advise a DC in advance that they would like to be graded. It is up to the club to determine what this system is and the time frame in which they need to be notified. So for example, you could be filling in a grading form at the March rally asking if you can be graded at the April rally. So this will enable the DC to ensure that someone is available to grade the riding member, gives them an opportunity to contact an outside person to assist, especially if the request is to grade a combination for grade 1 horse trials or even A grade show jumping, and you feel that there might not be someone experienced enough within the pony club to be able to undertake that grading. So here I'll take you through the initial grading for dressage. So step 1, DC is notified and you'll be following the club committee's guidelines as per how that is done. So this could be the rider or even the parent contacting the DC, advising that they would like to be graded. So the DC discusses that grading with an instructor, and hopefully that instructor has seen the combination in a flat lesson, so that they have feedback to give to the DC as to what level or what grade they think the rider would be capable of competing at. The DC then notifies the rider and parent and advises of the dressage test that the rider will need to learn to then ride at the following rally. It's really important that you use an A test. They are the easier tests within the grade, and then have a more difficult test such as a C test or a D test. And it's really important that you have a test from the grade below the requested level. So if the combination is wanting to be graded at grade 3, it is a really good idea to have them also ride a grade 4 test and to have them ride that lower test first, just so that you can see the difference between their ability between grade 4 and grade 3. And then the DC organises 1 or 2 people to assist with the grading. So the combination will need to basically be judged, and the people that are doing that they can be the instructors, they could be knowledgeable parents, and it can even be the DC. So sometime during the rally, and and there may be a designated grading time, the rider is observed riding the first test and is provided with scores and comments. And after the feedback, the rider either re-rides that same test or they continue on and ride the following tests. Having the rider complete the lower grade first will assist you determine really if they are ready for the actual grade that they are requesting to be graded at. And if the rider achieves over 60% on both tests, then the DC can be somewhat confident that the combination are capable of being graded at that level requested. So if the rider is having difficulty scoring above the 60%, then the DC can advise the rider, to keep training and be potentially graded at an up-and-coming rally. And really, although this scenario shouldn't really occur, and would most likely appear with regrading rather than the initial grading, due to the fact that when the DC has discussed the potential grading with some instructors, you will gauge and get a good feeling as to whether the rider is ready for the grade. You may experience a pushy parent or over-eager rider that requests to be graded at a higher grade, and this is when these guidelines are really beneficial, and it's even more important for show jumping and horse trials. So clubs can determine how to upgrade after the initial grading, but the grading guidelines are really beneficial in determining if the combination is ready for the next grade. And even if a combination is winning at their current grade, it is really important to ensure the riding member has developed those skills that enable them to ride at the next grade. So with regards to dressage, it's just a really good guideline to prevent disputes occurring, and this may occur when one rider is regraded to a higher grade but another rider isn't, and there has been no set procedure or guideline for those riders to be graded. So it becomes a personal decision rather than a set procedure where it's valid and everything's taken into account. So I'll quickly go through show jumping. And initially, when being graded for show jumping, combination, again the DC will discuss the potential grading with an instructor, and that instructor hopefully will have seen the combination jumping in a jumping lesson, and will have a rough guide as to what grade the combination would be capable of starting at. So you'll be looking at doing approximately 3 rounds, and the first round you'll start at the maximum starting height for that selected grade. If the rider completes that course with less than 3 refusals, they maintain control, and the horse and rider are really happy with that round, then you move on to round 2, and round 2 will be raised 7.5 centimetres, a bit lower for F grade. Again, the combination complete that round. Again, if it's less than 3 refusals and the combination is safe and happy, and the horse isn't being overfaced, and the rider is confident, then they proceed to round 3. And again, that is raised another 7.5 centimetres. So what you're wanting to find out is, can the combination safely and competently complete a show jumping round starting at the maximum starting height and finishing at the maximum finishing height for that grade. So as written down below, combinations must complete each round to a satisfactory standard. If the combination can't complete the first round safely, it would really be sensible not to keep going. So don't allow them to attempt the second and third round. Again, you need to be advising the rider and the parent that a little bit more training is required, and in time, they can come back and be regraded. If the second and third round can't be completed, then that combination should not be graded at the grade requested. And as I've said earlier, a beginner rider really does need to complete these guidelines. Don't just grade them at F grade or E grade because they've been graded, say, grade 5 in horse trials. Really make sure that they know some of the rules, that they can ride the course safely, and there is a bit of difference between being graded an F grade or even an E grade in show jumping compared to a grade 5 in horse trials. So clubs can determine how to upgrade after the initial grading. Again, like I suggested for the dressage, it's really good using the grading guidelines to help determine if the combination is really ready for that next grade. And as with dressage, some combinations might not progress past a certain grade, so many ponies can complete and be winning over a D grade course, but they just simply don't handle a C grade course because of the height difference. So grading guidelines will really help see if the combination will handle the higher grade. So the initial grading for horse trials is somewhat as follows. The combination complete a horse trials dressage test, and what they're looking at obtaining is a score greater than 50%. The combination should complete a cross-country course of at least 8 fences at the height that they're being graded at, and they should do this safely and without incurring 3 refusals anywhere on the course, and the rider should be able to ride at the correct speed for that grade. The rider should then, or the combination, should then complete a show jumping course, again of at least 6 jumps, and they should do this safely without incurring 3 refusals, and again they should be riding around the correct speed for that grade that they are being graded at. So when you're grading for horse trials, it's important that within your rally planning, that if a rider was undertaking a cross-country lesson, that maybe within that lesson, after that they've completed some training over some of the jumps, they've had some practice, that you then have the rider within that lesson complete the cross-country course over those 8 fences, just so that they're not doing a whole hour of cross-country riding and then a whole hour of, say, show jumping riding, and then coming back at the end, or say at lunchtime, and having to jump even more. So they can undertake this grading within a session if you've set up the session to enable that to happen. And again, clubs can determine how to upgrade after the initial grading, and as I've said for dressage and show jumping, again the grading guidelines are really useful in determining if the combination is ready for the next grade. So as with jumping, some combinations might not progress past a certain grade, so many ponies can compete up to grade 3 quite successfully, and it's just that difference between the grade 3 and the grade 2 course which makes it a little difficult for some ponies to keep proceeding through the grades. And so the grading guidelines will help you see if the combination will handle that higher grade. So you'll need some rules on hand for when you're grading, and firstly the dressage rules, knowing what equipment the rider can be using when undertaking the test, knowing the size of the arena, and things like that. The show jumping rules, definitely need to know maximum starting height, maximum finishing height, what speed they need to ride at. Some of the other rules, have they crossed their tracks throughout the course? Have they gone through the start and finish line? And just some of the simple rules that even the rider themselves should know before they go out and compete. And again, also the horse trial rules. Again, the height, maximum width that the cross-country fences and the show jumping fences can be, how the speed that they ride over the cross-country course, even some general rules. How many refusals, are they allowed on course, and what are the differences between even your pure dressage and your horse trials dressage. So along with your bylaws, along with the grading procedure, it's really vital that you have the rules that for each discipline when you're grading.